In a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived an old man named Elias. His clothes were tattered, his home was a crumbling shack at the edge of town, and his meals consisted of whatever scraps he could find. He had once been a carpenter, crafting beautiful furniture for the wealthy, but time had stolen the strength from his hands, leaving them frail and unsteady. Elias had no family left. His wife had passed years ago, and his only son had left for the city, never to return. Yet, despite his loneliness, he carried a quiet dignity. He never begged, nor did he complain. Instead, he wandered the village each morning, offering small repairs in exchange for food. One cold evening, as Elias sat by his tiny fire, he thought about the one thing he had always wished for: to carve something truly magnificent, something that would outlive him. But his hands could no longer hold a chisel properly, and he had no wood to carve. The next morning, he walked to the village square, where a wealthy merchant was overseeing the delivery of fine timber. The wood was smooth, polished, and perfect for carving. Elias approached the merchant and asked, "Kind sir, would you spare a small piece of wood for an old man's final creation?" The merchant scoffed. "What could you possibly make with hands like those?" Elias bowed his head and turned away. Just as he was about to leave, a young boy, the merchant's son, tugged at his father's sleeve. "Father, please, let him have some." With a sigh, the merchant relented and handed Elias a small block of wood. Grateful, Elias took it home, placed it on his worn workbench, and picked up his tools. It was painful. His hands trembled and his joints ached, but he worked tirelessly, chipping away bit by bit. Days passed, then weeks. The villagers noticed Elias spending all his time in his tiny shack, barely stepping out. Then, one morning, the village awoke to the tolling of the church bell. Elias had passed away in his sleep. Curious, the villagers entered his home and found sitting on his workbench the most beautiful wooden figure they had ever seen. A delicate sculpture of a mother holding her child, carved with love and tenderness. Next to it lay a small note in shaky handwriting. "A mother's love never fades, nor does the work of a craftsman's heart." The sculpture was placed in the village square, a reminder of the poor old man whose hands had created something timeless. Though Elias had lived in poverty, he had left behind a masterpiece, proving that even the frailest hands can shape something eternal.